more time. One more time.
We've been married 18 years. 17 of those have been in Primerica. And every year, David and I have this thing where we exchange anniversary cards. And last year on our anniversary, David and I actually exchanged the exact same card. And we discovered that we bought them in 2 different cities and at 2 different times. So that should show you a little bit that we are on the same page. And I got to tell you, we have worked so hard at that in our business and in our life, in our marriage, to be, partners for each other. And so one of the best examples I can think of that I've ever heard of partnering in the business comes from our own hierarchy. We have some downlines, Fremont and Kimberly Green, who met this young man. He was young. He was a roofer. That's all he knew since he was 12 in his family business. And he learns about Primerica, goes home and tells his wife that I'm going to do Primerica. And she, her name is Tanya, his name's Jose. And let me tell you, Tanya said, I think I better help my husband, this roofer, if he's going to do this. They go on an appointment and it's in Spanish, and Jose had Spanglish. There's some financial words, I think, that don't convert into Spanish as easily through the presentation. And Tanya just took that presentation, looking at her husband saying, he's trying, but my Spanish is better. She grabs it and she finishes that presentation. And that just is a testament to how you need to partner up with whatever skills you have. This is not the partner time to partner down. It's the partner time to get involved. Right now, especially with so many roles changing, right, guys? You have people that are having their kids learning on Zoom, and people that have been in jobs and their jobs have changed. And right now in Primerica, there's such a hunger for that next level, more success. I know our teammates feel that. I can't wait to the teams that are coming out of our offices right now, these new RVPs. So there's going to be some role identifying and role accountability, and it's so worth it. So what you don't want to do is partner with negative thinking. Like, this would be how you don't want to partner. You don't want to say, this is taking too long. Maybe, it's not valuable that I plug into the event. I don't need to go back and watch, the things on there later after I put the kids to bed. I don't really need a license, right? No, we're talking about there's so much goodness for you and your partnership. I'm not here to tell you how to partner up. I'm telling you why to partner up. You all have different skills. You all have different ways in what really is in you, what your skills are. Don't tell me to hold a piece of paper because I'm losing it by, noon. But ask me one of my teammates' birthdays and I will tell you like that, right?
All right, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, teammates, depending on when you're watching this. Regional Vice President Herman Lopez. And guys, we're just super excited for this week's team meeting and the message that we have for you all. I'm actually very excited, and I really feel honored to be able to share the virtual stage here with my coaches, my leaders, and really my second set of parents, guys. Regional Vice Presidents Todd and Sandra Newkirk. We have them with us this week. And guys, I just thought that it was going to be great for you all to know where, where we come from. How have we gotten to where we're at today? If you, in your family, it's kind of interesting to ask, what's your parents' story, and then ask, their parents, your grandparents, what their story, and kind of finding out what has happened to lead to the point where you're here. And so, guys, Todd and Sandra, that they're our parents in the business, and very wise leaders, incredible leaders. And we're going to learn a little bit about their stories today. And guys, you guys got to understand, because of Todd and Sandra, we are all here. I wouldn't be here You guys wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Todd and Sandra Newkirk. And so just very excited at the chance we're going to be able to interview them. Now, before we get into that, we just got some quick announcements we want to cover with you all. We're going to cover this rather quickly. And so let me go ahead and start sharing the screen here. And so, guys, you all know that we started a brand new month, Magnify Momentum May. You can find, I'm not going to go over the announcements of the company. Just for the, we want to give it plenty of time to Todd and Sandra today to share their story with us. But you could find the announcements, all the incentives, guys, on the Primerica app or on Primerica Online under the homepage. Just look for Magnify Momentum May, and you'll see all those incentives there. They got great incentives for first responders. They got bonuses, incentives to win an all expense paid trip, guys. It's just exciting growth and opportunities that you can have this month in May. So make sure you guys are magnifying momentum. But the main thing I did want to cover in the announcements, guys, is our next business training school. Our next business training school is going to be July 16th through the 17th. The main event is on the 17th. It's a Saturday from 8 to 2 p.m. It's here local, just about 30 minutes north of our office. But guys, you're going to be learning from giants in Primerica, people making 6 and 7 figures a year in this business. People have been doing this 10, 20, 30 plus years, teaching you how to get to their level in half the time, in a fourth of the time, and just take everything, your life, your business to the next level. And so make sure you are at this event. Make sure you get registered for this. Ticket prices were $20. They're now $25 until May 30th. Guys, get your teammates, making sure they're getting tickets. I want to encourage you to make sure maybe you get some tickets for your teammates. That'll definitely give you the push and drive to get recruits going and get people there with you, especially if you've invested in their tickets as well. And so text me for the registration link. And but we have a vision, guys, and I shared this last week in our team meeting, that we have a vision of becoming a $100,000 team by the next business training school. And so we launched this May 1st. So May 1st to July 17th, guys, it's a total of 77 days. So we're on a 77-day run to make this happen. We talked about, how we're going to do it. And so, again, I just want to remind you all, the numbers that we're going for is 50 recruits, 50,000 in premium by 75 new investment accounts. That's what needs to happen between May 1st and July 15th, July 17th. And so 50 recruits, 50,000 premium, 75 accounts. And we believe the best way to do that is let's get you all promoted. Okay, we're calling people to go for their senior rep promotion. We believe 14 people, we can make that happen. Think about 77 days is 11 weeks. So that's about one person, 1.5 people getting promoted to senior rep every single week for the next 11 weeks. How awesome would that be, guys? That's just 1 by 1,000. We're calling 7 people to make a decision. Let's get you guys promoted to district leader. Okay, that's about one, every 10 days. For the next, 77 days, let's get 7 people promoted to district leader. And then we're calling 3 people to go for division leader. Make that happen. And guys, if we do this as a team, that'll be sufficient for us to hit the numbers, become a $100,000 earner team, guys. And we would be the fastest growing team at the business training school. We would dominate the recognition as a team. I mean, it'd just be an incredible experience, incredible growth, cash flow increases. And so, again, we're running some additional incentives. So for anybody that gets promoted to senior rep, or if they do senior rep numbers, you get a ring light, a webcam ring light for your Zoom meetings. Anybody that becomes a district leader during this time period, we're going to give you the webcam ring light and wireless earbuds. Look how awesome that is, guys. The Primerica's version of AirPods. You're repping Primerica everywhere you go. You can make your phone calls a little bit more efficient. And then anybody that becomes a division leader gets the webcam ring light, the wireless earbuds, and a brand new iPad. All right, guys. So this is the month. May is the month to magnify momentum. June and July is just to carry that over. And so let's get you all promoted in the month of May and June as well. And so, guys, man, like I said, I'm just so excited to share the virtual stage with Todd and Sandra. And so, Todd, are you there?
Absolutely.
Awesome, man. Well, man, first off, thanks for doing this for the team. We've known each other, what now, 8 years, right? 8 years, and I really do feel that there's a reason God put us together. If it wasn't for you and Sandra, man, I wouldn't be the man I am today. I wouldn't be the vice president I am today. So first, I want to thank you guys for just paying the price, doing what you guys have done to build a business and just change so many people's lives, man. From my heart, I love you guys, and I just thank you so much, man.
Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate that, Herman. You're gonna make me teary-eyed here first thing in the morning. But listen, team, we're equally excited to talk with you guys. I can't tell enough about Herman and Laura. Just you guys have at your disposal just phenomenal leaders. I'm telling you, they're probably the hardest working couple that we've had the privilege of working with. Their hearts are in the right place. I mean, they always put God, family, and business first. So their priorities are set in alignment for success. And, just going over those numbers that you shared, Herman, teammates, that is something you should be excited and rallied around. I mean, I remember when Herman and Laura was in our base shop and we'd have these big, audacious goals, and we weren't sure that we were going to hit it. But collectively, we came together, we got excited, we got people jacked up and fired up. And together, we fought like crazy. We made it happen. And just making it happen, hitting those goals, how much bigger and better you feel. And then you feel like, man, I can accomplish anything in life. And think about that. Isn't that what the good Lord has put us on this earth for, is to live a life of abundance, to go after life with zest and zeal and excitement, not mediocrity. And so for you guys, I'm excited just going on that. And I'm like, man, if I want to be part of your base shop so I can help you guys with those goals, right?
Right.
But teammates, find out what little part you could do to take that team to the next level. And I'm telling you, that's the beautiful thing about this Primerica business opportunity is you don't have to go at it alone. I mean, you get to be part of a team that's bigger than what you could even imagine. And listen, when you guys helped Laura and Herman hit that milestone, man, it's not their title, it's your title. You understand? It's not them winning it, it's the team winning it. And that is something you can take with you for the rest of your life. You can say, man, I have built $100,000 offices. I helped in that. And I'm telling you guys, that is just worth whatever you guys got to go through. So I'm just fired up, focused. I'm excited to be part of this meeting today. I got my 2-year-old in the background, kind of here. He's kind of sniffling. So if you hear some things, it's him.
Hey, man, that's the business nowadays, right?
Absolutely.
Closed business, and then, you got your child there right next to you. So I remember, growing up in the business, that was never a thought. And the fact that we can do that nowadays is just incredible. So Todd, I know you and Sandra got kind of combined stories, but I know that you started the business before Sandra. So we're going to start with you today. So if you could just kind of share with us, talk to us about your first introduction to Primerica. How were you introduced to Primerica? What did you see when you were introduced? And then just kind of talk about your journey of getting started, at least the part of just getting started in Primerica.
Yep, absolutely. Well, listen, guys, I spent a number of years working for a Fortune 500 company as an engineer. Okay. And I just remember like the first couple of years I was excited. I was making good money. But then I noticed that just the environment was toxic. Everybody would complain about working. Most of the people that worked, they weren't really working, even though they were sitting at their desk for 8 hours, right? They were, doing other things for 6 of those hours. And I just remember like year after year after year, I just felt like, man, is this all that life, has to show for me? And one day we got a big call from our CEO and he said, hey, we're going to go through some changes, reorganizing, the business, and we got to take this to the next level. So we all were excited, but little did we know, a week later, that reorganization meant that 1/3 of our department was laid off. Wow. So here we were given a talk about how we were going to make changes to take the business to the next level. And then a week later, we found out that we were out the door. We were without jobs. Okay. So that wasn't the organization change we wanted. And I found myself being really, really upset and depressed. I don't know if any of you guys can relate to this, but I had given them 10 hard worked years. I mean, I had given them everything I had for 10 years. And to find myself kind of being thrown away and without a job didn't set well. And I remember going on some job interviews, but I could not get excited about anything, Herman. I mean, I'd do these interviews. It was the same people asking me same questions. They weren't excited about me. I wasn't excited about them. And I really found myself in a point in my life where I didn't know what I was going to do. And out of the blue, I get contacted by a guy named Bob Arney. And he introduced himself as working with a company called Primerica. And he said, hey, Todd, we understand you got let go. Would you have any need for any type of financial guidance or financial coaching? And this was really a blessing from the Lord, because at that time, I needed a whole lot of help, because I was probably 6 to 8 months unemployed. I was whipping through what little savings I actually had. I was racking up credit card debt. I desperately needed to start budgeting my money. So I became a client first. And what Bob did is he helped me get my finances in order. And I remember him teaching me concepts like the rule of 72, debt stacking, all the stuff that we've been taught. And for me, it was like a game changer. I'm like, oh, this is great. I should have heard about this like 10 years ago. And Bob said, hey, listen, why don't you work with me part-time? We can go share this message with other people. We can impact other people's lives, and you can make some side money. And I said, sure, Bob. I mean, I don't have any sales experience. I'm not a people person, but I'm pretty good with, helping people. I like people. So I got started on a part-time basis. And what really did it for me, Herman, was I was part-time, wasn't making a whole lot of money, but I was excited because for the first time in my life, I felt like I was free. And I don't know if some of you guys can relate to this, but back in the old days in corporate America, when I would drive to the office every day, I hated it. I got that feeling like, oh my gosh, I got to report to work in 10 minutes. And I remember now I was working part-time and I'm driving around town thinking, hey, I'm free. I'm a business owner.
Right, yeah.
I wasn't making any money in my business, but I was a business owner, and that just felt good. So what I did is I decided to jump in full-time. I was a district manager, which is really about the first promotion you get here at Primerica. I was a district manager running my own office. Okay, my office lease was like $400. I think at that time, Herman, I was making $600. So you guys do the math, right?
Wow.
But I was excited. I had a business, and I was fumbling around the business, and I started to figure things out. Okay, I started to get good at my craft. I started studying other people. I started seeing some success and making money. And just about the time that I was hitting everything, I was hitting really good milestones, life threw me a major challenge. I went through some major personal relationship challenges, and that really set me back a big time. Okay. And, I wasn't sure what I was going to do. The opportunity came up for me to kind of relocate to Fort Myers, Florida. So you guys can imagine, Indiana or Florida. So that was an easy decision for me.
Right.
So I decided I needed a fresh start. I relocated down to Florida. And what I did in Florida for the first time in my life is I decided I was going to get things right. So what I did, teammates, and I want you to catch this, is I made the commitment to first and foremost give myself to the Lord Jesus Christ. And I decided to put him in charge of my life and to put him in charge of my business. The second decision I made is I decided I wasn't going to play around with this Primerica opportunity anymore. I was going to give it everything I had, full throttle, and see where this takes me. So making those two changes, teammates, we were able to get the regional vice president contract. Okay. We opened an office in Florida. We were able to do some pretty big numbers, and within 11 months, we were able to get the regional vice president contract that took us to the $100,000 income ring that Herman and Laura are going to be getting here over the next couple months. Okay, guys, what that did for us is that not only gave us the confidence that we could be successful in whatever we put our minds to, but that showed our teammates as well that they could do whatever they put their mindset to. And while we were in Florida, just because we were being obedient to the Lord and working really hard, one of the things that the Lord did is he blessed me, and probably the biggest blessing ever. Okay. he allowed me and introduced me to recruit not only my best friend, but my soulmate, somebody that I would go on to marry and start a beautiful family with. And that's my wife, Sandra. And I tell you guys, it has been a journey. And what I want to share with you guys before I turn it over to my wife, Sandra, is there's a couple things. First and foremost, listen, life is always going to throw you challenges. Life is always going to throw you adversity. But you got to accept those challenges and adversity and understand that those are necessary to build the character, the person you need to become. Okay. Yes. If you read any stories in the Bible, okay, always God's chosen ones have gone through some stuff. Can we all agree with that?
Yes, absolutely.
So if you find yourself ever going through some stuff, or you find out that maybe this business is a little bit harder than you thought, it's not a sign from God that you need to stop this. It's a sign from God that you need to give more of it up to him so he can bless you with the abundance that's coming your way.
Wow.
So guys, I'm fired up. We're going to switch roles here. But again, proud to be on your teammate on the call this morning.
Hey, Todd, can I ask you a couple questions on that story? So just so the team can kind of get some key takeaways. So I noticed how you started as a client first, and the gentleman that recruited you, his name was Bob, right?
Yes.
So he could have just helped you with the client, never mentioned the opportunity to you, right? And your life would have turned out totally different than, you know, the major blessings that you've received here through the company. So would you say that it would be a good idea that every person that we talk to, we don't just limit the opportunity to certain groups of people, or, you know, we should mention that to everybody, right? What's your takeaway on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think teammates, the biggest takeaway is our job is to find the people that are looking for something better. Our job is not to convince, it's to sort through the people to find the ones that want this. Bob saw something in me that I didn't see in myself at that time. Okay. And I didn't share this with you, but Bob actually followed up with me 2 to 3 times over a series of 3 or 4 months, because Bob knew that I was eager to do something different. Bob saw it in my eye. I wanted to be somebody, and Bob knew that I was excited about this concept, and I could be excited about sharing these concepts with somebody else. And teammates, if you sit down with somebody and you see those similar attributes, then you can't be afraid to follow up, because I think about it, like Bob was a major blessing to our lives, you know, just like we were a blessing to Herman's life. So guys, don't ever feel bad to follow up with people, because you could truly be a blessing. Sometimes, like myself, they may take 3 or 4 months to actually see that this is a blessing.
Perfect. And then I wanted to ask you about the journey of when you were a district and running your own office. You know, yeah, obviously starting in any business. I mean, it's the price you got to pay when you're starting a business. You know, a lot might have to be going to the biz, especially if you got your own office. So you, like you said, you were a district leader. Most people don't have their own office till they're a VP. Like me, I didn't have my own office till I was a VP. You were already running one as a district, and you said you were bringing in 600, having to pay 400, but you were still excited. So can you share with the team, why were you so excited, even though, things didn't maybe seem moving in the direction you wanted to, or maybe moving as fast? It seemed like you were focused on where you were going, not necessarily like where you were at, right? Like, can you talk about why you were so excited in that period of starting your business?
Absolutely, guys. And I don't want this to sound like I'm better. I'm not better than anybody else. My mindset has always been, I don't want to be like everybody else. I don't want to be average and ordinary. And even though, I was running my own office, not making a whole lot of money, and there was plenty of my friends that were making a lot more money than me, the fact that I was doing something different that they weren't doing, the fact that I was running my own office, and I could go home at night before I put my head on the bed and say, listen, I'm building a business for myself. The fact that I could say I'm a business owner, that excited me. And that kept me excited through the ebbs and flows, the ups and downs of the market. And I think, guys, listen, don't take this business opportunity for granted. I mean, this is a ticket for freedom. And the fact that you guys are doing, or that we're doing, like what 5% of the country only does, become business owners, is something that you got to applaud. It's very admirable. See, 95% of our population, they won't do it. They don't have the guts to do it. They're afraid of what other people tell you. And the fact that you can be the 5% that's not afraid to do something different and to chart your own course and not afraid to go after true freedom and destiny, that's as exciting. And it doesn't matter if you hit success or not, okay? You get to define success. And the one thing I'm so convinced of, Herman, in this business, as long as I've been here, is if you just go at this business long enough, you are 100% guaranteed success. If you do the right things long enough. That excited me.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Todd. And just one final question before we transition into Sandra. So your journey to vice president, because we got some teammates on the team, that are wanting to become RVPs and working on that journey. And so you moved to an entire state, to a state you didn't have any contacts in Florida. You didn't know anybody there because you grew up here in Indiana. So you basically were starting all from scratch. In a period of 11 months, you made RVP happen. So can you tell us, what did it take? What was it like? What do you feel was the reason you were able to go to a brand new city, not know anybody in 11 months, go from district division where the level you were at to regional vice president?
Absolutely. Well, it really took three major points, Herman. The first and foremost, absolutely, it took 100% faith that God had my back. I decided during that time to stop worrying because I was a guy that would worry about everything. Where's my new client going to come from? Where's my new associate? What if I can't train him? What if this is going to... I just started to give up all my worries, all my fears, all my self-limiting doubts. I decided just to give it up to him, not even think about it, first and foremost. The second was I decided I needed to get laser focused. I was so focused on the goal that nobody was going to detract me from that. I thought about it every day, first thing in the morning, the last thing I think about before I go to bed. I would write out my goals like crazy and affirmations throughout the day, every single day. So when I wasn't making money and when people were canceling on me, right, or things were postponed, it didn't matter. I gave those worries up to God and I focused on my goals.
Yes.
All right. The third thing is I worked like crazy. If everybody in the company was setting 20 appointments, I was setting 30 to 40 appointments. The one thing I learned in Florida, we had to do double the numbers to get the same results as we did in Indiana. For some of you guys that I'm talking to that may not have a market, listen, if it's tougher for you to build it because you got to work harder than everybody else, that's going to make you that much better of a leader. Yes. Did you guys catch that? Okay. The people that have it easy in this business where they talk to one or two people and things happen for them, okay, they don't really get to build themselves as strong leaders. So when little challenges come their way, they can have some struggles. For some of you guys where the struggle is real in the beginning, that just makes you that much better of a leader. So when those struggles come later on in life, it doesn't affect you as much. Yeah. One of the reasons that your guys' leader, Herman and Laura, is so strong in business and has such a great vision of where he wants to go and such great leaderships is because it was a struggle for him, a major struggle in the beginning. And I kept telling him, stay focused. It's going to make you into that much better of a leader to do bigger and better things, guys. Yeah. So don't ever wish it would be better. Okay. Wish that you would be better. And that's where you give it up to the Lord. The Lord's always going to give you what you guys can handle.
Yeah, I remember countless times you sharing that with me. Hey, it's just going to make you better. It's just going to make you better, right? It almost got to the point where I was excited when struggle would come my way. I'm getting better, getting wiser, right? Getting stronger. So, well, Todd, I appreciate, you sharing your story there and those lessons as well. And so now you went to Florida, you were building it big, you got to the $100,000 income milestone. And then through that recruiting process, Sandra gets introduced to the business, and now it becomes no longer just Todd Newkirk, but now it's Todd and Sandra, right? And so I see you guys are making a transition there. Baby swap, right? And so so Sandra, obviously you have a different way, we all have different stories, so your way of getting started, but it's all somehow connected. You know, it's amazing to see that. So talk to us about how you got introduced to the business. You know, what did you see in the opportunity? Why'd you get started? Kind of share that introduction of your start in the business.
Absolutely. First of all, excited just hearing, you know, obviously Todd's perspective and getting to share with you guys today. So I had just graduated from high school, and I had started college, and I was studying to become an architect. So that has everything to do with finances, right? So I was working full time at JCPenney, was just a cashier in the men's department, and I was attending college. And one of the days that I was working is around Christmas time, right? Most of the busiest seasons times are during the holidays. So I was working, and there was a long line. I remember like it was yesterday. And the lines from each department actually connected. That's how bad it was. And it was never ending. So you got no breaks. You're on your feet for 10, 12 hours. And I remember a lady comes up, Cheryl Ryder is her name. And she comes up, and she probably had one item that she wanted to check out. And as I'm ringing it up, she says, "Hey, now here, take notes, right? You probably never heard this question before right here." So she says, "Do you keep your career options open if the money or situation were right?" And, you know, I wasn't looking for anything, but in that moment, everything in me said yes. And she didn't have to say the name of the company, what it was about. And she's like, "Great, let me get your name and number, and I'll give you a call later." So I ripped off a little receipt tape, wrote Sandra, my phone number, and gave it to her. And that was it, gone. And then I just moved on to the next customer, right? And so a couple of days later, she gave me a call, came in, did a one-on-one interview with her trainer, so her upline, and I signed up right on the spot. And back then it was $199, by the way.
Oh, wow.
To get started, yes. And again, college student, I had a scholarship for the tuition, but the books weren't covered. So I had a little bit of expenses. So I was working to pay for those things, but I didn't even think twice about it. So that's another point right there. If someone really wants it, there's no excuses, right? They'll go ahead and make it happen, have it get started, right? So I gave them my card, paid the $199. Again, what I saw was the helping the family aspect. You know, great, absolutely part-time income, but I just thought, wait a minute, I'm starting college. You know, I was like, my family is from the Caribbean. We know how to work hard, but we don't know much about money. And I thought, man, the rule of 72, I could be debt free. I could retire by the time I'm 40. Like that blew my mind. I was like, I'm 19 and I could be done at 40.
Yes.
And so I was like, yes, you know, let's do this. And I was super shy. Some people that know me now are like, yeah, right. But I was super timid. And the fact that I didn't even think about that part. You know how some people are like, well, I'm not a people person or whatever. I didn't even think about that. I was just like, I want to learn everything I can to set myself up, and then my family as well. So that's kind of how I got introduced to the business.
Yeah. And so it's kind of amazing to see how some people think their way out of doing something when you just gotta, if it feels right, you just gotta take action. It sounds like a lot of what you were just doing is, this is great. It just sounds good. Let's just do it, right? Because if you started thinking about it, anytime you start thinking about something, you start talking you don't think, oh, how can I do it? You start thinking, why can't I do it, right?
Exactly.
Because the brain can't accept change. You know, they don't like change. And so it's awesome that you just didn't let that stop you and get started at such a young age. So I know that, so you got started part-time, you were in college, still taking those courses, working a job. So talk about your transition from obviously you didn't continue with the
Right.
architect.
Right.
So talk about that transition from where you were at to going from part-time in the business to making a transition to full-time.
Yeah.
You could share that phase.
Absolutely. So I was not a fast starter, though I got started right on the spot. I was not fast in the business. It took me a while to get my first promotion, my district promotion. But I was showing up to every training and I was just soaking it up. I would leave my college class and it was about maybe 10 minutes, maybe 5 minutes away from the office. And I would be zooming to that office just to be around that environment. And I was the baby of the office. I'm sure you can relate, right, Herman?
Absolutely.
And so everybody was older than me in their 20s and 30s and 40s. But I was just there, like soaking it all in and hearing their conversations, hearing the phone calls they were making, but I was scared to death, right? And they would go prospecting. So back then, for the guys that started in Zoom world, back then we would talk to people face to face, right? And it was like every day we would go and meet people and talk to people. And that was really out of my comfort zone. But my upline, Cheryl, was adamant. So that is key. Here's another point is we won't always understand or be comfortable with what our upline tells us to do, but it's for our best interest, right?
Yes.
I look back and I thank God seriously that she pushed me to the brink of like, you are crazy, right? That's sometimes I would think she was crazy, right? Yeah. She would take me go prospecting and literally would like push me to go talk to people, physically push me. And I was like, this is crazy, but I kept coming back. I just kept like going with her. I was just like, what is this? But here's another tip too, is the relationship that she built with me is what connected and said, you know what? Yeah, this is weird and odd out of my comfort zone, but she is a good person and wants to see me succeed. And so anyways, fast forward, I'm struggling with the life license, believe it or not. I didn't pass my first or second time. It took me my third time, which is crazy because you're a college student. You should be able to take that. But honestly, guys, I was like, oh, it should be no big deal. I could study and take it, but I needed to really focus.
You passed it the first time you took it serious, right?
Right, exactly. Yes, exactly right. I like that. Absolutely. And so, so I did that. And then I had my first client. I remember Todd, all the field trainers were on appointments. And I come into the office after work and Todd's like, look, we have somebody we need to train. There's no field trainer. You need to go.
Wow.
And I about died. And I was like, okay, I have been coming to every training. I've been role playing with everybody. Like I listened to the audios, I got it. But to do it, it was a little scary. But I went and I trained that person and it went great. And my confidence obviously went up. Yes. And so I made more in that one life app that I helped that client with than I did working full-time at JCPenney. And then that's when the light bulb went off. Yeah. I was like, this is where I need to be. Less time, more income, right? And so I talked to my mom because we all heard this before, right? Go to school, get good grades, graduate college, go work for somebody, right? And I was like, I gotta tell mom college is done. And it was like the first semester. So I was like, the first year. And so, but the good thing is that, mom was like, you're a good kid. She's like, I trust you. If you believe that this is the way you need to go, then I support you. And that's huge, right? And so here's another tip. Listen to the people that support you, right? That's going to push you up and believe in you, right? The ones that say, no, I don't think you do it, or how could you do it? You only have a background of this. It's not necessarily they don't want you to succeed. They're afraid that you're going to fail because they're looking out for your feelings and all this stuff. But the people that can cheerlead you on, those should be the loudest voices in your head, right? And so not only
there were people that didn't support the decision that you had made. I'm sure you got that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And so I talked to all my friends, again, 19-year-olds, right, Herman? So I talked to all my friends. None of them got started with me. I did bribe my best friend to sit in the opportunity meeting. I had to bribe her, like, let's go. And she didn't enjoy it, but that's okay. Everything happens for a reason. But yeah, that's when I made that decision, said, yeah, I'm going to go for it. And I still, even after making that decision, it didn't happen overnight where I made a lot of money, but I still kept doing the same thing, which is showing up to training, going on appointments, and prospecting.
Perfect. So I think the biggest takeaway I'm getting from your journey in Primerica up to that point is, even though you didn't have the best start, the fastest start, sometimes we see people that, their first year they made like $500,000,
Right.
With crazy growth. Now, that's not everybody, and that's okay. But you just kept showing up. That consistency of I'm still going to be a team player. I'm still going to show up to the meetings. I'm
Yep.
still going to do whatever the coach asks. And that consistency just made you, like what Todd shared earlier, just a stronger individual.
Yeah.
And then that's when obviously you started seeing some growth in the business. So
Absolutely.
so after that point, that is that where the relationship between you and Todd started happening at that point?
So after getting to district, so there's a lesson in that one as well. As it was over Super Bowl weekend. And I had, so Todd had already announced to the base shop, they're going to have a Super Bowl party thing, at his place and everything. And so everybody's like, okay, everybody hit their promotion, everybody doing good. So it's month end. So it's like, I don't know, maybe 2 days left. Yeah, it was a Sunday.
Yeah.
So that Monday was month end, right? 6 p.m. And so I was one life app away from hitting my promotion.
Wow.
And I'm telling you, I was, and at that time thinking there was nothing else. There was no extra, nobody I could talk to, call. And I remember, unfortunately, my upline at the time had said, hey, you know what? You'll get it next month. You'll get it next month, no problem. And, I was like, oh, okay, I guess, And so I told that to Todd, and Todd was like, oh, no, we don't stop at the finish line.
That's right.
You better finish it, right?
That's right.
So when he said that, I was like, okay, all right. So he's like, you can't come to the party until you get that done. So I was like, all right. And I'm an relational person, right? So I don't want to miss out, I want to be around.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh man, I'm going to be the only one out there. So I started thinking, and I was like, okay. And my mom's really good friends, who I was the godmother of her daughter, came to mind. So I called her up. This is all on that Sunday. I called her up. I said, hey, what are you doing? She's like, I'm just here at the house. I said, great, let me come over. She's like, sure. I go over there and I literally do like a maybe 10, 15 minute presentation. I'm like, have you ever heard of what I do? Primerica. And I said, great. Do you have any life insurance? And she's like, no. I was like, how could you not have life insurance? You got 3 kids. Like, what's going on? And so she's like, I don't know. I was like, great. I could coach you. I could get you going. She's like, all right. So that day I closed it first time. And I will tell you guys, that is so key. Push, because the feeling you get, it may be a little uncomfortable because you're like, oh, I got to ask for favors, or I got to call this family member or this friend or whatever. Do it, guys, because the feeling you get when you do make it happen is like cloud 20. Yeah. Like I was like unstoppable. Nobody could tell me anything after that point. And I remember calling Todd. I was like, I got it done. I got district done. And and the other thing too is a couple of days before that, I had gotten 3 recruits from one family. Oh, wow. I was just, the mom came in and she's like, oh, my daughter would be good. I was like, bring her in the office, and like literally recruited all 3 of them. They didn't make it when the ink dried, but that's okay. I got that promotion.
They served the purpose.
Yes. And so that Monday I came in our manager's meeting, our full-time meeting, Todd announced, Sandra hit district. And that was the best feeling ever. But the very first convention, so to tell you about the transition, where Todd and I started building the business together, is my very first convention was in 2007. And that's when we're in the dome, right? And they were presenting the rings, right? The $100,000 ring, 200 all the way above. And this was, I remember we're in the nosebleeds, like way up high. And there's a gentleman that comes with a briefcase and it's cupped to his wrist. And I'm like, what is going on? I'm still kind of a greenie. I'm like, well, I'm district leader, like, what's going on? And they said, okay, we're going to present the first time ever the $5 million ring, Mike Sharp. And they opened that briefcase and I was blinded from all the way at the top. Wow. And I was just like, hold on, is he the CEO? And they're like, no. I'm like, wait, they're paying somebody $5 million in this. This is crazy. Like, you could do that? Yeah. And I just thought, okay, I had already seen the lines of people getting rings and rings and rings. And I was like, this is it. This is it. The goal of being done by age 40, being able to retire at age 40 is possible. It's definitely possible. And so coming from that event, of course, I was fired up. And, you know, Todd and I had just started to get to know each other, friends and talking. And we decided, yeah, let's go at this business. Let me be your right-hand person and let's go after it. And we are just double-digit recruiting all the way through for years leading up to us coming to Indianapolis.
Awesome. And so, and that's interesting because that ring has like 50 diamonds because you get a diamond for every $100,000 in income. So when you hit $1 million, they have 10 diamonds. So 5 million, guy had 50 diamonds. That's why it was so blinding. And so, yeah, that was awesome. I wanted to add a point to when you were talking about getting your district leader promotion.
Yes.
You know, you said, you know, sometimes it feels uncomfortable asking people for an appointment. But what I've noticed is I've always, anytime I've done that, and then I actually helped the client, I've never gotten a client that said, I wish you never would have called. I've never had a client, I wish you never would have called me. I wish you would have never helped me with life insurance. It's always been, thank you.
Yep. Absolutely.
Thank you so much for telling me about this.
Yes.
It's always gratitude. So that, when I first realized that, I felt like that was, okay, that it's okay. Whatever I got to do to get the appointment, it's going to be worth it. So,
Yeah.
So how did it feel to make that district leader promotion? Did you get to go to the party?
Oh, yes, I did. Yes, absolutely.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
So after the convention, that's really where you and Todd started working together. Your businesses started. So when you were double-digit recruiting, I know you guys got to the point where you guys were doing like 30 recruits, 30,000 in premium,
Yes.
and even higher numbers, being top in Florida, being top in the Dream Painters hierarchy.
Yes.
And then obviously you guys made a transition back into Indiana. So
Yes.
maybe if you could share that part of the story and.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So we looked at each other, and this is right after the 2008-2009 mortgage bubble burst, right? And so we were still doing 15, 16 recruits a month, even during that time, of course, because most people were looking for an opportunity, even though the mortgage market was not the best. And so we looked at each other, and, you know, my mother-in-law had some health challenges, had dementia and developing into Alzheimer's. And so Todd was like, you know what, this will be the perfect time to go back. And, you know, God truly is always working behind the scenes, right? We don't see it, we may not feel it, but know that he is. And in that same moment that we prayed and we made that decision to say, yes, we're going to pull the trigger, we're going to go back. Kent and Lori Preston, who's the leaders of the Dream Painters, we had met at the company trip. So we had won the Primerica trip to San Diego. And while we were there, they had taken us to Coronado Island, right off of California. And they were just talking to us, getting, you know, talking about our goals and everything. And they said, have you guys thought about, you know, coming back to Indiana? Now, we had never said anything to them, never had that conversation before. Yeah. For them to ask, and we're like, actually, we just talked about it. And so they said, okay, well, come. And they were all in one office building at the time. So they said, come, no problem. We'll transition over just well. And so that was a huge blessing to not have to worry necessarily about where the office would be. We can just come in, hit the ground running, and just start building our business from there.
Awesome. Sounds good. And so Todd basically started the business from scratch in Fort Wayne, then started the business from scratch in Florida.
Yep.
You started the business from scratch, and then both of you now are coming back to Indiana and starting it all over from scratch again. So that's
Absolutely.
about 4 times. And you guys just, I mean, you guys, I always admire your perseverance, your guys' grit. It doesn't matter, whatever you guys value freedom so much, whatever price you got to pay, even if you got to start all over again,
yes,
you're going to do it because you guys want to build that freedom for you guys and your family. And so you guys transitioned here, started from scratch. And then and I remember that's when you started working towards your RVP promotion.
Yeah.
And so if you could kind of share that part of your story.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So we were here, we're building it, and just the Lord put it in my spirit to, you know, go after the RVP contract. Obviously, Todd was an RVP already. And the reason is because, you know, most people are like, well, you build it together with your partners, and nothing wrong with that. But just something in me was like, wait a minute, you know, I want to show the women that we're going to recruit in the business that may not have a partner, right? Because there's a lot of 54% of the company is women, right? That kick your butt. And so I was like, you know what? I want them to have an example that they themselves can get it done, right? And so Todd was like, absolutely, go for it. I totally support you. I won't help you. You just do what you got to do. And I said, I appreciate that. And that's just a test to his character as a man and his, is supporting my decision to do that. And so, yeah, so I just continued doing what I was doing, prospecting every day, setting the appointments every day, doing the appointments, field training. So I was wearing many hats at that time. Of course, Todd was still there to, meet everybody, have conversations with them. And so of that mist, right? So I had Monique that came on board and Karen, a couple other folks. And so I recruited Mary Kennedy. And Mary Kennedy, that name probably won't sound familiar to you, Herman, but it's part of your lineage.
Right.
And so Mary Kennedy recruited her. She recruited Tracy Gwynn.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And so for you guys, teammates, Tracy Gwynn worked with Herman's mom at the school, right? And so Tracy recruited, so she recruited only 2 people. So Tracy, very introvert, right? Sweet, but very, 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 very shy. Just different environment, right? Most people, they come into this, it's different, it's new. But 2 people she recruited. One was her sister, and then the other person was Angel Lopez, which you guys may know is Herman's brother. And so he gets started, and he's like, listen, we do his list, right? And he's like, all right, I said, the top 5 hot market, who can we go see? He's like, you got to talk to my brother. You just have to talk to him. He would be, so he could sell, I said, Eskimo, like, he is just like it, like, you have to talk to him. And I was like, fine, all right, tell me, how old is he? He's like 18. And he's like, I said, what does he do? And he works at Tire Barn. And okay, so, still in high school and everything. Okay. All right, I'm like, oh, how many stars is that? Let's see. And he's like, yes, you have to. I was like, all right, fine. So I was like, set up the appointment. We'll go meet him. Calls him up, sets the appointment. Doesn't happen, right? Yep. I think I lost count after 3. I
think it took 3 times for me to finally actually do the appointment.
Yeah. So by the 3rd time, when he's like, no, for real, we're gonna meet with him. I'm like, sure, yeah, okay, whatever. But as the coach, someone's excited and they believe in that person. You got to keep following up, right? So we go to their house, their parents' house at the time, and Lito calls him up, say, hey, we're here at the house. Where you at? And you responded with, you're out or something, and you had to do something.
The way I remember it is you were doing a field training appointment with my brother. I think you guys were meeting one of my family members that lived by. He calls me up. So he didn't book this appointment. I wasn't expecting. He calls me up and says, hey, where you at? I'm like, I'm at the house. I'm about to leave to go to the gym. And he says, no, you're not. You're going to stay there. You're going to see this presentation. We're about 5 minutes away.
Yeah. Okay. So we get there, and you might think this is funny, but you had a white T-shirt, gray sweats, I believe, obviously some tennis shoes, right? And believe it or not, he actually had like 3 or 4 hairs on the top of his head. Now he got a mustache now. But that's what was going on then. And so sat down, did the presentation, and you were actually fired up. You were excited. And I was like, okay, so he gets it. All right. And so just fast forward, right? You come into the business, and I just remember that you were so hungry. Right, your vision was always, you and your brothers, to have a car. What was it?
At the time, like, have our own like car shops, like be in the car business, dealerships, lots, service, but not necessarily do it, but own the properties.
Yes, and that was the key, is ownership. You guys talked about that, and I was like, okay, 18-year-old talking about ownership, all right. And so you already had that vision, you had that mindset, you were hungry. And I remember that, I don't remember how far into it, but you're like, that's right. Lito said to us that you said to him before we did meet, he was like, I'm not going to be in the office. I'm not going to wear a suit. That is never going to be me. That's not happening, right? You remember that?
I'll never get a job where I'll have to wear a suit and tie. I remember I said that.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And so here we are. Didn't have to wear a tie, but yeah, so hands dirty, fingernails. I remember that, had dirt underneath, right? So as the months go on, we're like, all right, let's groom it up. Let's, get, professional looking. But you were always coachable. You were hungry for the knowledge, self-improving. We had meetings every day, right? Reading books with Todd. And so that was kind of the atmosphere. So going for RVP, you were a part of that, a huge part of that, recruiting, no matter what the adversity, how many people you had to go through, you were always rebuilding, always prospecting, right? And so that helped the team that I was developing to get to RVP. So.
Yeah, and I remember you guys going for RVP, and that was just awesome. And it was an incredible feeling to say, hey, you were a part of that, you know, and so, yeah, I remember, and I want the team to understand your entire situation is very unique because very rarely are both the husband and the wife both RVPs. Usually, like their title, like their code, their solution numbers is a RVP. Usually, like you said, it's one RVP, it could be the man or the woman, their title is the VP, and then their spouse, might have a district or division title, but they kind of do everything under one RVP. And you guys, both are RVPs. And so, yeah, I mean, the fact that you did that to set the, to pave the path for women, hey, women can do this, anybody can truly do this. And that really instilled the belief in me that I could do this as well. So, and then at that point, then we could spend hours sharing what happened after you guys became VPs. But now, obviously, you guys started family, building a business. Now you're developing other regional vice presidents and taking it from there. So, is there anything else that you would like to add regarding your guys' story there at that point?
I would say when it comes to partnership, is be flexible with the roles, right? So the teammates that are partners or have partners, and their partners doesn't necessarily have to be a spouse, right? Just someone that is supportive, right? So you may have a best friend.
My partner was you guys, right?
Yeah.
I was a single guy. I mean, I didn't have, my partner was you two, right? I relied on you guys on everything, right? And so sometimes the best partner is your upline, your trainer, your RVP, right? Yeah.
That's key. That is so good. Yeah, absolutely. And so when it comes to the partnership, it's like be flexible with the roles, right? There were times where, obviously starting out in the business separate from Todd, I learned everything, right? Because it was truly my business. And so I was able to, at different points in our RVP time and developing other leaders, where I was solely focused on the licensing aspect. Getting people licensed. Like obviously when you're in the base shop coming in and studying, the day of the test with you. And so that was my role for a majority of the time, but I was fully licensed, right? Fully licensed as well. And I've always, even from the get-go, believed that the partner should be fully licensed. Because in my mind, I'm like, well, we could be at two different places at the same time and each be doing 3 to 4 appointments. I'm like, so that's 6 possibilities to bring income to the household. That was just my mindset. I just thought, genius, we could get there a lot faster. And so, so field training, I have no issues with all those things. He excels more on the accountability side of things. Yeah, he's good at being able to tell you what you need to hear, and you feel good about it when you leave his office. So
that's right.
So he's excels at that aspect, but partnership is so key. Just being flexible and communicating, and giving each other grace, right? Because we're not always going to get it right. So that's what I would add.
Yeah, in your roles as partners, it's always evolving. It's always changing.
Yeah.
I mean, now we again relocated to a new city, and I think I watch the boys just as much as she watches the boys, because we'll have different teammates that have appointments, and maybe Sandra's better suited for that appointment as opposed to me. So we're constantly flexible, and I think, you know, there's not one size fits it all. It really is what works for you guys, and you just figure it out.
Absolutely.
Awesome, guys. Sounds good. Man, you guys have such an incredible story. And like I said earlier in the meeting at the beginning, you know, if it wasn't for, you know, what you guys did years ago, you know, we wouldn't be where we're at today. We wouldn't have influenced the people we've had today and changed clients' lives, teammates' lives. And it's just exciting to see, you know, Theo Mateo, who very young, you know, just seeing kind of, you know, what you guys build over the next 10, 15, 20 years when now they're maybe able to take over the business. Just, you know, how many VPs you guys will have. They won't have to start from scratch like how you guys had to start multiple times. They'll be able to take it to the next level. And so, I appreciate what you guys have done for our team today. Can appreciate everything you guys done. You know, Laura and I, we love you guys a ton, and it's just been an exciting journey the last 8 years of knowing you guys, and just really honored to call you guys friends, parents, coaches, mentors, you know, everything that we need. You guys have been a major blessing in our lives.
Well, we're excited to celebrate when you guys hit that $100,000 ring.
Yes.
Milestone with your teammates. We're going to celebrate so huge, but we know that's just the start. So
Absolutely.
we're excited.
Absolutely.
Teammates, go get it done for these two.
Yes.
These two are salt of the earth, godly, fearing people, and just go do it. Be part of something bigger than yourselves, because then you can always say, I did something big.
Yes.
Proud of you guys. We love you guys. You're all part of the family, and let's go win together, guys.
Absolutely.